Hi, my name is Jan Keupens. I'm the marketing lead at Across Health, and in the next few minutes, I will guide you through the basics of our Navigator market research. Navigator 365 is unique market research on channel, content, media, and industry benchmarking. Across Health has been running this market research since 2013, and in the past 7 years, we've accumulated more than 35 million data points and created more than 35,000 healthcare professional profiles. It's widely adopted within our life sciences industry, and more than 40 of our customers use our Navigator research as key day-to-day tool in their omnichannel campaign planning and success measurement. It is not research for research's sake. It's very actionable, it's agile, it's flexible, and it serves as key input to campaign and resource allocation, and it will definitely help you in monitoring the performance and measuring the impact of all of your omnichannel initiatives. All the data sits in the cloud, which means you can access it anytime, anywhere, and you can leverage the data in our self-service omnichannel planner tool. Channel and content optimization has always been a key weakness in pharma, and in these COVID-19 times, it is really creating a lot of disruption. An evidence-based post-COVID strategy for omnichannel customer engagement is therefore essential, and our 2020 Navigator market research will prove to be instrumental to its success. Let's have a look. You're granted access to all the historically purchased data and market research that your company has acquired. Let's assume that you're interested in the market research piece around cardiology for Germany. In seconds, you can generate the market research in PDF form, but you can also download it and use it as PDF or PowerPoint. By means of simple navigation, you can work your way through the various market research pieces. On page 3, you will see the 4 success ingredients for successful omnichannel customer engagement. In step 1, we talk about right channels, right frequency, and right customer. It will cover 50 channels, and this is unique in the industry, and we will look at components such as the reach of a channel, the frequency of use, the impact of a channel on the clinical decision-making, and the cost component. We strongly believe that this section will become very dynamic during and certainly after COVID-19. In the 2020 edition, for the very first time, you will get the difference and the delta between 2019 data versus the fresh 2020 data. So we will make key comparisons. Section 2, right content, right context. This will look at key content needs for 8 pharma channels, and it will also cover the when and the how for using and leveraging a particular channel. For the 2020 edition, we will add several questions on how healthcare professionals see the future of customer engagement in post-COVID era. In section 3, we take a deep dive into third-party media. 8 different types ranging from journals, online journals, to third-party websites and e-newsletters. Most online media planning today is not sophisticated at all. Our unique media section helps you challenge your media planner and build a better plan. In COVID-19 times, it is more important than ever to reach your customers, and third-party media play an important role here. In section 4, we look at the competitive landscape for 18 channels, and we expect this section to undergo significant changes now investment in digital is going up everywhere. As more and more companies will increase their investment, here you will see where you currently stand versus what the competition is doing. Word of explanation on this particular slide. Across Health guarantees annually refreshed data for 10 core specialties that you can see here, in combination with either a EU5 or a US flavor. All other combinations are possible, but these are possible upon request. In our 2020 data, we will run our research in 2 pulses. Let's have a look at part 1. Right channel, right frequency, right customer. Let's jump to part 1. As you will see, our market research is truly an omnichannel offering. So we will look into channel performance and considering a channel portfolio of more than 50 channels. So not only digital ones, but also offline ones. So horizontally, you see the split between offline and online channels. Vertically, you see color coding coming back. We also make a distinction between your own promotional, your own medical, and also the paid channels and the earned channels. One of the key visualizations of assessing channel performance is demonstrating reach over impact for this particular channel portfolio. By doing so, you get a performance map. We also create equivalence map, where we compare the impact of all channels to that of the rep. That is what we call MCQ, or multi-channel equivalence. It helps you trade off channels relatively easy. More detailed information will be given when I show the interactive power tools later on in this demonstration. If, by looking at the channels, you would be puzzled what the abbreviations mean or what the channel definition is, by jumping to the appendix, page 181, you will get the explanation for all the channels that are used in our research. In these COVID times, third-party optimization is essential. So let's have a quick look at part 3 of our market research and jump to the third-party media optimization section. Here you will see the 8 channels that we cover. So third-party media section will cover third-party websites, newsletters, international congresses, national congresses, international and national journals, third-party apps, and online medical communities. As you can see, the data is very granular and is unique for optimizing your third-party media mix. You can zoom in and you can start comparing. This is cardiology Germany. You can see that ESC, the European Society of Cardiology, when we look at third-party websites, is perceived to have a medium reach but the highest impact of all. If you look at newsletters, you can see both from a reach and impact point of view, the DGK, Deutsche Gesellschaft für Kardiologie newsletter, is perceived to be very performant compared to, for example, the Medscape newsletter that everyone knows. So, very granular data. Let's have a look at competitive benchmarking. So let's jump to part 4 of our research, competitive benchmarking. As you can see, our competitive benchmarking section will cover 3 company-wide competitive benchmarking assets, but we'll also cover 18 channels spread over 4 key dimensions, being sales, marketing, medical, and patient services. So the rep is part of it, remote rep email, etc. These channels have been handpicked based upon the fact that they're the most commonly used traditional offline channels, which were complemented by key online channels, such as, for example, website or app usage. In our competitive benchmark approach, we look at the relative performance by channel, but we also look into the quality factor of a leading company. For instance, a particular company might be leading the pack for a particular channel, but if we look at the quality factor, you will be able to spot whether he or she is doing average or poor. The rankings are expected to undergo many changes in the next few years, now that we see in COVID times that pharma is investing more and more in digital channels. By using our market research, this is really an excellent way to track where you are versus what the competition is doing and to see whether your new investments are really paying off. Very rich research. Let's pause on rep email, for example. So you get the relative scores for a particular market, for a particular country, as said, 10 core TAs, EU5 or US, but other combinations can be made available upon request. So we have the relative scores, and then when we look into the quality factor, you can see that the quality is perceived to be average. So anyone who is capable of doing really well in the rep email space will be able to rise through the ranks quite fast. Up to now, I only showed you how you could consume a particular combination of specialty and market in a PDF way, so reading a book and looking at pre-formatted graphs. Where it really becomes interesting is that our Navigator 365 platform allows users on the platform to play around with the data themselves. They can slice and dice the data, they can filter the data, they can export the data, but more importantly, they can consolidate data, they can pull their own data sets, and they can create head-to-head comparisons. For now, we have 4 power tools available. We have performance maps demonstrating reach over impact for our channel portfolio. We have the equivalence map, which is a spin-off of the performance map, but which expresses channels and their impact in terms of their relative weights compared to either the rep or the MSL, so what we call multi-channel equivalence. More news later. We have consolidation and we have head-to-head. Consolidation is bringing data sets together and creating the views and head-to-head comparison. Assume that you want to compare either two countries within the same specialty or within the same geography. You want to compare cardiologists to dermatologists. That's all possible by a simple mouse click. Before I forget, there are several new tools coming. So there will be a media and benchmarking tool that will be launched fairly quickly. And with 2020 delivery of our Navigator 365 market research, there will also be a time trend analysis tool available so that you can seamlessly compare 2019 data with 2020 data and that you can spot trends. But let's start with the performance maps. I click on performance map. I select the data set that I want to work with, and what you get is a channel performance map, an interactive map. Let me explain you how we create such a channel performance map. So for the portfolio of more than 50 channels, we ask our healthcare professionals in the research, dear doctor, out of these offline and online channels, which channels did you encounter in the past 3 months? If, for example, 35% of our healthcare professional panel indicates that in the past 3 months they have visited the pharma website, then the theoretical reach of the pharma website is set to 35%. Okay. For the channels that our healthcare professionals were exposed to, we ask them a follow-up question. Dear doctor, so he indicated that he was exposed to the pharma website. To what extent did the pharma website influence your clinical decision-making, your prescription intention, on a scale from 0 to 10? So by doing that for all of the channels, you create a performance map, which, with the Power Tool functionality, suddenly becomes really interactive. You see color coding coming back. This is the color coding that was used in our channel portfolio. Remember that we talked about more than 50 channels, both off and online, both owned promotional, owned medical, your paid channels, but also your earned channels. So this graph is really interactive. Imagine that you're only interested in seeing how your own channels are performing, so your own promotional channels, both on and offline, and your medical channels. You can simply, by a simple click on, click off, customize your view. You can even zoom in to a particular section to increase legibility. You can reset the zoom. You can switch between map and table view. You can download the data. You can download it as an image. Let's switch to equivalence maps. Equivalence maps are similar to performance maps, but there's one big difference. Whereas in performance maps, we expressed all channels in terms of their impact on clinical decision-making or prescription intention on a scale from 0 to 10, we will now introduce a common unit of measurement, being MCQ, multi-channel equivalence. And how do we do that? We set the value of the rep, which in the performance map, the rep value was assessed slightly above 6 out of 10. We now rescale and say that the impact of the rep equals 1, and we express all other channels in terms of their relative weight compared to the rep. Again, so the rep is set to 1, all other channels are expressed in terms of their relative weight compared to the rep. So for the very first time, you're not only able to identify your high reach and high impact channels, or your high impact but lower reach channels that you might consider to experiment with. No, for the very first time, you express impact of all different channels of a pharma newsletter, of a pharma website, of a pharma outbound call. You all express them in terms of their relative weights compared to the rep. This is really instrumental when you do your planning. So for the very first time, you will be able to quickly fix, compare, and optimize your channel mix and your resource allocation. So the same functionality around interactivity exists, but one important element I will still need to mention is the fact that you can simply switch from a commercial multi-channel equivalence to a medical one. At the top of the page, you can toggle between commercial and medical, and what it does is, whereas in the commercial multi-channel equivalence, we rescale everything compared to the relative weight of the channel compared to rep. In the medical one, we rescale around your MSL, your scientific medical liaison. Let's switch to consolidated sets. So the consolidation power tool. Consolidation is bringing data together, but let's start simple. If you bring a specialty together with a country, we're talking about German cardiology, and you click submit, you automatically get some sort of an interactive table of content. And this interactive table of content gives you equivalence maps, performance maps with all the features that I already explained to you, but also gives you additional insights from part 1 and part 2 of our market research. Part 1 being channel performance, part 2 being content and context of using particular channels. But as said, consolidation is about bringing data together. Imagine that you're responsible for international markets, so that you're active on headquarters or on regional headquarters, and that you're interested to get a view around EU5 for cardiology. By simply adding France and Italy to the mix, you will see that on the fly the visualization changes, and you just grew your pool to 304 healthcare professionals. If we now bring in the United Kingdom and Spain, you get the consolidated view of more than 500 EU5 cardiologists on channel performance, channel equivalence, and much more. Let's jump to communication preferences, for example. This is the view on what communication preferences are for EU5 cardiologists. Are they inclined to go for face-to-face, mix, digital, or don't they want any interaction with the industry for both educational and promotional matters? So really interesting. But what's also really interesting is a concept that we call digital divide, because it paints the picture of where opportunities lie for you as a company, for you as a brand. In essence, what it does, it compares supply and demand for both educational as for promotional service in this particular panel. The supply is measured around what is the reach of e-pharma channels compared to the percentage of physicians that indicate that they prefer digital or mix. The difference between both, so the difference between supply and demand, is what we call the digital divide. As you can see, no surprise, the biggest opportunity lies in education. So what they're getting versus what they're wanting, and same for promotion. Okay, digital satisfaction, but there's a lot more in our research, so let's take a look into key channel insights. Remote rep. In this day and age of COVID, and certainly in post-COVID times, this is an engagement model which will probably become more and more important in the industry. If you look at remote rep, and again, this is for consolidated data for the EU5 markets in cardiology, what you see is when you look into the interest of remote engagement, that 61% of EU5 cardiologists indicate not being interested, yet 40%, and probably growing, indicates that they either wanted to replace their face-to-face visit or as a complementary service on top of the traditional face-to-face. By scrolling down, you get additional insights into how you should deliver, how you should service this particular channel. For example, how important is it that you're familiar with the rep that is leading the remote call? Here you can see that only 1 out of 4 says that it can be any rep, so the majority says that they prefer to use the rep that they already know from face-to-face visits. Additional features include the possibility to download the image, or to download as a PDF, or to download in a CSV file. Let's move to the head-to-head comparison, the power tool allowing you to compare either within the same specialty, compare 2 regions with one another, let's say cardiology, and compare Germany to Spain. What are the major differences? Do we see similar trends? How different are they, etc.? Or you could, for one in the same country or region, compare 2 specialties with one another. So let's take Germany. We're talking about cardiology. How different are German cardiologists from their dermatology colleagues? Consolidation. So 1 specialty, 2 regions. Let's take cardiology. And by a simple mouse click, we're capable of comparing Germany to Spain. On the left-hand side, you see again this interactive table of content popping up again. By default, we land on the channel equivalence map. So let's take, for example, pharma website. You can see that selection A represents 100 German cardiologists and selection B represents 100 Spanish cardiologists. For the pharma website, you can see that the situation in Germany is slightly different. In Spain, we have a higher impact and a higher reach of this particular channel. By simply mouse clicking any other channel, you can complete your comparison again by zooming in, zooming out. You can create a table view, you can download the data, and you can seamlessly switch from commercial to medical. Let's go to key channel insights. And again, look at the remote rep engagement model, which is becoming more and more important. If you look at the German compared to the Spanish data, what you can see is that German cardiologists seem less reluctant to engage with reps in a remote manner. Spain is more innovative and more progressive in this particular space. But there are differences, because if you scroll down and if you look into the delivery of the remote engagement, you can typically see, whereas in Spain they were more open to remotely engaging, you can see that in Spain the delivery of the remote call must be done by a familiar sales rep, whereas in Germany the situation is much more neutral. Navigator 365 offers you key insights into the fast evolving landscape of customer engagement. It's really user-friendly and cloud-based, so allowing team members to have access to all of the historically purchased data sets. For our 2020 release, we will cover 10 core specialties and 6 geographical markets. The first release will be fielded in June 2020, so to capture the changes in our landscape, and a second pulse will be done in October 2020. Both pulses will be part of the Navigator 2020 delivery. In the Power Tools section, I think I demonstrated that you can customize at your own convenience. You can drill down into the data and consolidate or compare data with one another. It offers you a wealth of information and is really far more flexible than working with your traditional PowerPoint or PDF. Now more than ever, it's time to reimagine our customer engagement model. I think Navigator 365 will offer you a head start. Do you want to have a chat? Do you have questions or you're interested in a more personalized demo? Just fill in the form and we'll be in touch.